In this video, I'm going to show you guys how I prepare and make a packing list. Now, this one that I'm going to make as a template so that every time I go on a trip, I can just duplicate this project and customize it for that specific trip. The project is like a piece of paper that we're going to make our packing list on. There are sections that are kind of the groups of items that we are going to put what we want to bring on. And then the items are the actual items that we're going to put in each kind of category group, which would be represented on our piece of paper. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come up here and create a new project. I'm going to call this one travel template. Change the color to blue. I'm not going to add it to my favorites because it's a template at this point, but I am going to go with the list view. At this point, I'm going to build the structure of my list, so I'm going to be adding my sections. You can add a section by coming up here in the menu, going down to Add Section, or just hitting S on your keyboard. There are three main section types I want to address. The first one is my to-do list, what needs to happen for this trip to be able to get pulled off. When is it going to happen, which would be your schedule or your trip itinerary. And then what do I need to bring? Now there's going to be many of those types of sections added. So this is just a quick example. You can add as many sections as you need to kind of build your list. For this example, we're going to say we have to fly to Texas on December 20th. So we'll say December 20, and we'll say that our flight is actually at 6 a.m. leaving, so PDX to DFW. That gives us what's happening and what time is it happening. And we'll say our return flight is DFW to PDX on December 27th, December 27 at, we'll say 9 a.m. So that gives us kind of like a couple things on our schedule, like the flight to Texas and the flight back. So as soon as I added those, I realized if I have a flight on December 20th at 6 a.m., I'm going to need to check in the day before. So check into flight, that would be December 19th, anytime after 6 a.m. Check into flight, December 26th, anytime after 9 a.m. So there's a couple things that I need to do to make this trip happen. Let's go down and start packing. Move forward from here. Okay, so now that we have our list and we're going to focus on packing, I can go ahead and just kind of minimize the to-do list in the schedule for right now, and that'll just help clean things up. I put on, in general, as an example, your wallet and your passport. Now, if you're traveling and you don't need your passport, when you duplicate this template and you're filling out kind of like the details of what you're going to bring, if you don't need your passport, just tick it off the list and you can move on from there. But I'll go ahead and minimize that for now. Clothing is pretty self-explanatory. You can make your list how you want to. You could list each shirt you want to take, or you can put in shirts and then specifically like red t-shirt, and you'll see that under shirts you can call out what t-shirts you want to bring and even minimize that down if that's how you want to pack your clothing when you're making your list. Maybe you have like a wedding you're going to, and so you do need to call out specific clothing, and then you also just need like 4 t-shirts. You can run with that however you want to. When I get into something like electronics and you have an item that has a lot of little components, I typically, for example, on my computer, I'm going to go ahead and click on the MacBook Pro, and I'm gonna get this this box that shows up, and this is like all the metadata for that task. And you'll see here subtasks, which I just used earlier, but I might actually put the Mac charger, maybe a USB hub, and a mouse. Those are things that like go with my computer that I don't want to forget, but I don't want the list to be a mile long, so I'll just put them as subtasks under MacBook Pro, and then when I'm actually packing, I can open that up, grab those items, pack them, check them off the list, and when I put the MacBook Pro in the bag, check that parent item off. Same with the camera. You might come in and do SD card, battery charger, and a mini tripod. And you can make that list when you're traveling. Now, this is a really important part. When you're actually on a trip and you did your best to come up with this template and you realize that you forgot your microphone and you don't want to forget that in the future, go back into your template, open up the camera, and add it so that next time you duplicate that project, you don't duplicate the error of forgetting your mic. And so if you keep up with this, your template will grow longer and longer, especially as you start adding items that maybe you don't need on every list, but that's the beauty of being able to duplicate that template and just tick off the items you don't need before you even start packing. The sections that we've been working on have been category related, so electronics or clothing, but I wanted to share with you guys another way that you can organize your list. And I do a hybrid of both. I have category groups, but I also have some like category locations. So if I specifically want to put something in my carry-on bag, I may make a section called carry-on and list everything that I want in my bag, whether like here, I put a battery bank in my carry-on because when I'm traveling, I want to be able to charge my electronics. So you could put that in your electronics category, but if it's important to me when I pull my carry-on out to make sure when I grab that battery bank, I put it in my carry-on and tick that item off the list, I know that that item is in my carry-on. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if the item is listed under carry-on or if it's listed under electronics because it did get packed, but for the sake of making sure that you have everything, if it needs to be in a specific location, you could organize that way as well. That is how I make a travel template and my process on how to not forget anything and do a couple trips and improve your system each time so that you don't forget stuff more than once.